everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
Hey, and I'm Rob Searing.
Alrighty, Rob is the webmaster of the Dice Tower, and he also runs his own insert company, Insert Here, .me, and makes both foam and 3D printed inserts, right?
Yeah. I've been in business now for 5 or 6 years, and a majority of that's been foam board. But here, and since December, I started learning it. I picked up a 3D printer, and oh boy, is there a learning curve for anybody that does it. I admire you tremendously. So yeah, I just had like 4 or 5 inserts released in that new lineup. It's a lot of fun. I really
Yeah,
enjoy
I'm,
it.
I'm not happy with the learning curve of the 3D printer, that's for sure. Um, Roy took it home to mess with it, and it's been there for like over a month now. I could have been printing out stuff right and left.
Oh man,
Oh, welcome, Martin, new member to the YouTube channel. I appreciate that.
woo,
All right, folks, this is our 9 o'clock daily chat. We do it every, every day, and we'll do it for the foreseeable future. In this chat, you can ask us questions, and we will do our best to answer them. I may or may not answer every question. When I say that, I actually mean I won't. So ask us good ones, interesting ones, geek culture, preferably. I like talking about that. Food. You know that Krispy Kreme has key lime donuts on the same week that I decided to stop eating so much stuff. It's hateful, I tell you, hateful.
yeah. We've been my wife. She's her cooking skills have been tested quite a bit. We're always looking for some new dishes. We've got I don't know how many. I mean, most everybody. Tom knows that you've got a large family. We've got 9 kids. So I don't. Do you guys, Tom? Do you try and find something that appeases everybody, or you just put it on the table and they eat what they eat?
Oh yeah, you don't get a choice at my house. I mean, not prefer. I mean, there if you don't want. Sometimes there's multiple vegetables or something like that. But yeah, you eat what we're having for dinner that night. I mean, there's occasionals. Sundays, one of the meals is usually scavenge for yourself type meal.
Wait,
Um,
your kids eat vegetables? No, I'm
they
just
don't have
kidding.
an they don't have an option.
Right. No, yeah, that drives my wife crazy trying to make everybody happy.
Well, yeah, I just gave up on it. I don't care if they're happy or not. You know, whatever. You're not happy. I sleep at night, and I sleep really well. And if I wake up in the morning and you're still not happy, I will go to bed that night and sleep harder. I do not care. My sympathy for lack of people who like food, you know, it is what it is. I don't like everything. I told my kids the other night. They were eating food, and my son said, "I don't like this." I said, "I don't like it either." Earning somewhat of the ire of my wife. I said, "But I ate all mine, so you will also."
Who does most of the cooking in your house? Is it your wife?
Yes, it is. I've since this has started, I've gotten back into grilling. I hadn't been grilling for a while, but it's time to grill. On Sunday, I grilled more steaks than probably should be grilled at any one point in time, but now
Yeah,
we got steak for a while.
that's cool. Well, what's your favorite dish she makes?
Of my wife, spaghetti pie, probably.
Oh,
I
cool.
like spaghetti pie. Alrighty, let's see. No one's asking questions, folks. This is a Q&A session. Where are the questions? Here we go. What was a game that you liked when you were a kid? This must be for Rob because I've already answered this. What game got you into the modern hobby?
Oh, wow. So, I mean, as a kid, it was your traditional, I mean, your Monopoly, your Scrabble, stuff like that. I think my very first hobby board game, I've got it right around the corner, but I won't get it. It's the Doctor Who. Oh, it had the big fourth Doctor. It was Tom Baker. So I was like a senior in high school, maybe. So, which is still quite a long way. I mean, it was about 26 years ago. But I mean, those of you that know it, it's got a red box. I don't know. It's Doctor Who, the Time Lord game, or something like that.
I don't know. It sounds horrible. I'm just
Oh,
kidding. Go ahead.
no, it was. It took forever to set up. You had like this huge board with all these planets, and you had all these tokens, and the pieces were just horrible. I mean, they weren't really great. And you just went around the whole universe trying to find parts of the key to time. and then you're trying to like build up your character, fight off Daleks or Cybermen or a lot of different creatures on there. But yeah, that was my first introduction, and then when I first got really hot and heavy, probably about 10 years ago, it was stuff like Killer Bunnies and Munchkin, I guess, were the two, because a lot of those you could find in stores other than just your hobby board game store.
Alrighty. So we have Luke asked a question here. What are good games to bring to college that are not too expensive? That's a really broad question, Luke. I'm only going to say that because, I mean, I don't know what the college is like. I don't know what the kids are like. I mean, every kid likes different games. Like my daughter took Marvel Legendary, and she plays it all the time.
That'd be good.
I wouldn't. I would take something different, but I don't know what I would take. So, that's a broad question. That's kind of like saying, what's a good game I should get? It's the same thing, right? I don't know that there's any game that works in college better than others. Maybe party games or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Rob?
My son just went to college. He didn't take any games with him, but I think he's more of a introvert, and so he probably wouldn't be planning on playing with anybody. I guess it would depend on if you're dorming with anybody. If you're an extrovert, of course the party games would be big.
Coralou says, Rob, how did you first meet Tom? Any funny stories about him? There are probably no funny stories. I don't remember how we first met.
I think just reaching out to you. There is a funny story about the first Gen Con, but we won't go there.
Okay.
Something you said you'd never do again.
Oh, yeah. No, never mind.
But no, yeah, it was just, I'll tell you what, it was just reaching out to Tom, because he had a large family, I had a large family, and I was just getting into board games. And, yeah, I just asked him if he needed any help, and he said, sure.
I could always use help, that's for sure. Yeah. Kabuki Kid wants to know what spaghetti pie actually is. It's really poor man's lasagna. You put into a pie pan or a baking dish. My wife, I got the recipe from my mom actually, and you take some spaghetti noodles and you mix them with some egg to make it somewhat of a hard crust, and that's the crust of the pie. It's like hardened spaghetti with some cheese and egg, and then inside is just piles of spaghetti, lots of meat, and for sure lots of cheese, and it tastes just like a lasagna. You get a slice of it, but with a slightly crunchy, not crunchy, but somewhere between crunchy and doughy. I can't explain it, but it's really good. Look up on the internet. There's good recipes for it. All right, favorite doctor.
Oh, Doctor Who?
The one in Korea. Oh, Doctor Who. David Tennant. Not even close. Matt Smith, very, very good, but David Tennant.
No, I'm sorry. I'm still going to go old school. Tom Baker. And I wonder if your favorite doctor. Well, obviously not with you, Tom. But I always wondered, like with James Bond, my first, and I found that other people's favorite James Bonds tend to be their first actor they saw.
Sure.
Like my favorite James Bond is always going to be Roger Moore.
Yeah, same here.
Some of those, he's a little cheesy, right? I love The Spy Who Loved Me. Doctor Who's the same way. The fourth Doctor was the first one. Like when I was in high school, the half-hour episodes would have Tom Baker, so you'd get your new episodes during the week, and then like Friday or Saturday they'd do a whole like book or a whole show, and that was the third Doctor, Pertwee. And I didn't really care for him. I didn't care for the whole I'm stuck on Earth premise. I really liked the Daleks and Cybermen and yeah, Tom Baker.
So you don't like the new ones?
Oh, I do, but my favorite's just always going to be Tom Baker. Out of the new ones, I'd say probably Tennant. I think I might have grown to like Eccleston. Is it Eccleston?
Yeah.
I think had he had a longer run, I might have chosen him. With him just having the one season, though, I think David Tennant probably. I didn't like the last one. He was, what's his name? Anyway, he was a cast member in one of the older shows, or he played.
The last guy whose name is also escaping me.
Yeah, I can't remember. But I also have to go back and I stopped watching when he first started, so I've got to
I can't
rewatch.
watch those old ones. They're so cheesy special effects. I just can't do it. Tom Baker
Yeah.
might be the greatest actor on earth, but I can't get over the special effects. And anytime people are like, no, it's really good, and I'll go watch an episode and I'm like, nope, I'm out. I just can't do it.
See, and that's so weird. And this is not have to be a whole Doctor Who episode, but the whole like I liked some of the old stuff, and like when they had the Dalek first in the new series flying up a staircase, I thought, man, that's so cheesy. Yet, in modern day, that's like a really cool special effect. But because I like the old stuff, it's like, no, Daleks don't fly. They're not meant to fly. But yeah,
Have I recovered from the marathon? Yeah, it wasn't that bad actually. I don't know. I thought I might lose my voice, but I did not. So that's good. What are my thoughts on the Blink game Jason just reviewed? I like it. It's pricey for sure, but it's a cool concept. I don't know if you saw it, Rob. It's a bunch of
No.
hexagons. They light up. And each hexagon has a game programmed into it. But if you buy a new hexagon, for example, and hook it up to your other hexagons, it teaches them all how the game works. So I played two
Okay.
games on it. One game was okay. The other game I really liked, where you were splitting part of it off and connecting it and trying to get your colors all separate from each other. It was a pretty neat idea. I haven't messed with it as much because it's been at Jason's house for a while. If someone tells you your actions are louder than your words, do you think they're saying you're clumsy? No.
Actually, no.
Rob, do you like solo games?
Oh, I love, yes. In fact, there for a while, because I'm also an introvert. I've gotten a lot better. Man, Tom, and you could attest to that, at the very early conventions, I would hardly go out and talk to anybody. I've gotten a lot better with that. In fact, I look forward to going just to meet, see some of the people. But there early on when I was first collecting, yeah, that was one of the things I'd look at is if you could play solo or not. So yeah, I really enjoy playing solo.
He doesn't have to, though. He has a huge house full of kids.
Yeah,
Which don't
lots
play
of
with you as
kids.
much as you might think. Kids don't want to play games as much as they want to play video games. The most board game loving kids still like video games.
Yeah, they're all stuck in what's that? Not
Animal
Minecraft.
Crossing.
Well, I've been playing Animal Crossing. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I've been playing it since the GameCube. I love Animal Crossing. That couldn't have come out at a better time for me with this, with everything that's going
Come
on.
out at a
But
better time for anybody. I mean, lots of people are playing it and enjoying it.
I wish you played it and I could talk more about it because
I
there's
know
so
what
many.
it's about. I don't have any interest in it. I just bought a game on the Switch and I played it with my kids an hour ago that cost 9 cents. 9 cents. I said, all right, I can afford that. Let's get it. I think it was called TikTok. And all it was a button, and you make this dot go back and forth without hitting these things. It was 100% worth 9 cents, possibly 90 cents.
You know what I'd like to ask the audience if there's anybody out there, and I asked Tom this, is Dresden Files just came out, the implementation on the Switch. If anybody's played just that board game or how it handles on the Switch, I've been tempted to buy it, but I don't know the IP, and that's what's kind of pushing me away from wanting to get it. And that plays cooperatively, so I bet you that's a good solo game.
Any recent surprises and or disappointments with board games you've tried? Well, on mine, I'll tell you in the reviews. I think I'm going to do a blow-by-blow thoughts on the marathon games soon. But, Rob, I want to hear disappointments. Give me something you don't like.
You know what? I can't really, because I've been playing a lot of kids games lately, and one of the big ones was the re-implementation or the republishing of a la carte. But there was one, it was a Hobbit game that I was a little disappointed with. It was that one with the bowling ball and the Vikings and the Viking ship.
Oh, yeah, that one was the
And
School
that-
of Stars nominee, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. And I just, that kind of disappointed me. It was real quick, not a lot of decisions for him, which maybe it's because the kids were a little older than I should have been playing with. Maybe I should have been playing with some of my younger kids, but That kind of disappointed me.
What are those cool buildings on the shelf?
Oh, they're Lego sets. Some, I don't know those. Oh, I forget the series. They come out with one every year, and so it's a lot of the. Well, there's the Ghostbusters firehouse, and then just a bunch of just different really cool city buildings. I'm a huge Lego maniac. Love
Well, sure.
Legos.
Let me ask you about that because this is something I never understood. I love Lego. I think it's great. It's fun to build the buildings. So then you build it. Then I'm
What do you
done.
do?
Then I have a
Yeah.
$100 chunk of something sitting behind me. Oh, those are probably some of those are more than 100. And I just sell it and let someone else build it. The building part's super fun, and looking at it's cool. But if I let it sit around for a long time, I'm better off just buying models.
Yeah, I like taking them apart and putting them back together. Or
Oh,
I'll buy
okay.
stuff, and I don't buy a ton of them too. I'll get maybe one a year. There for a while. I was buying a couple, but like I do. Oh man, it was crazy. I got the Star Destroyer and an AT-AT Walker, and for fun, I just dumped all the bags into one Rubbermaid container and thought, just this, make it harder so that I'm not looking at the number bags. And that was probably one of the worst mistakes I ever made. I mean, you're talking a couple thousand gray pieces and a big, yeah, it was a nightmare. And it took me a long time. If you're up for a challenge, do that. It's like
Nah.
buying one of those posts. It's just one color.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. All right, what's your favorite old school arcade game or pinball game?
Ooh, man. You go first. I've got a couple on tip of my
Oh, the
tongue.
old school arcade games. Well, it depends on how old school you want to get. If we go back into the 90s, it's the X-Men arcade game. I love that one. I could play that one forever, and I always wanted to be Colossus. I really like Colossus in that game. If we go back farther than that, Pitfall maybe. Although I also liked
Was that arcade? That wasn't arcade.
Pitfall's an arcade. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
yeah. And maybe Spy. What's the car one? Spy. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, Spy Hunter.
Spy Hunter. Uh,
That was fun.
Pinball. I'll
Oh,
play any pinball game I come across. I don't care what it's about. I'll play it. I love pinball.
so I'd say mine. So I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up in New Jersey, and I used to go down to Ocean City a lot. And I think it was called Flynn's Arcade, right on the boardwalk. And I remember two games I really enjoyed playing. One was Tron. I loved Tron, and I could never get very far, like past the first two levels or something. But man, the light bikes, I mean, they were really cool. The spiders and the MCP. But then I really enjoyed Dragon's Lair, and then a little after that, I wish
See,
somebody could
Dragon's
tell me
Lair
the name.
bugged me as a kid. I didn't like the fact that you played through a game and then you just did something, and then it went to the next scene, and
Yeah,
that always bugged me because it's not a game. It's just you just making the right choice at the next time, and then if you fail, going back and going through again.
it was kind of like an interactive choose your own adventure game,
Sure,
right?
I just didn't. Well, yeah, but you had to make the right decision. It wasn't like,
Sure.
oh, this goes off on this branch and this branch and this thing happens.
Yeah, and it was expensive too. I mean, you missed, I mean, it was like a buck or 50 cents to play that
How
one.
often
But
did
there
you
was this
throw a
one.
quarter or two in a machine and you lose it right away? Oh, I hate that.
But there was a game. It was right after that, and it was the same concept, but it was like this helicopter battle, and you were like flying like a Thunderhawk or something. I wish somebody could tell me what the name of that game was, but it was after I used to my first one of my first jobs was at a 7-Eleven making newspapers on Saturday night for Sunday morning, and they had a couple arcade games, and they had this and then Super Sprint. Do you remember in the arcade you had the overhead view of the track, and you had like a blue, a yellow, a red, and a green car, and you pick up wrenches, and then you could like power up your car for like speed or
Hmm.
traction, and yeah, Super
I don't think I
Sprint.
played that one.
It was great.
Alrighty. Well, that was a lot of video game stuff. Let me see here. Blah 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 blah. How many games do you own?
Not as if you're asking me, not as much as Tom. I probably got 2 shelves, maybe 3. But a lot of my games are for the business to make the inserts out of. So I've got a ton of games that I haven't even played.
Whatever. Rob just says that because he likes the games. He's like, oh, I got this to make an insert for it. Let's play it.
Hey, honestly, if you've been to my website, I've got inserts for over 450 board games. So I've at least had 450 board games in my collection, but I've gotten rid of a lot of stuff that I would never play.
That was Peter Capaldi, by the way, the Doctor Who you couldn't
Oh
notice.
yeah, Capaldi. Yeah, he had a role. It was funny that he was Doctor because he had a role. I don't know if it was like during the 5th or 6th Doctor or maybe early on in. I don't know. He played another character in the Doctor Who universe.
Yeah, he was in the Roman one when David Tennant and Donna. I'm mixing
Yep.
up the names here, but yes, that Doctor and Donna went
Okay.
back to uh, um, Pompeii.
Okay. Yeah, now I
Which was a
know. Yeah,
fixed
you're
point
right.
in time.
Yep.
All right, Eric wants to know, when rating games, do you go by how much fun you had or how good the game is? I do not know how to differentiate those. If a game is good, I have fun. If a game is fun, it is good.
Have you ever
I
had
mean,
fun playing a game you don't like?
that doesn't make any sense. But okay, I guess yes.
Or a
If we're all
bad
laughing
game?
about it.
Well, like, I don't know, Monopoly. Can you have fun playing Monopoly? Assuming you consider that's not a good game.
No, and yes, and no. I don't think Monopoly's fun. But you can have fun doing anything. I played more bad games than any other human on Earth, I think. I think that's a fair assessment. And I have fun playing them because I get to play with. I just have a good time. I
Different
don't care how
people.
bad the game is. Can you handle black and white movies, Tom? Oh, sure. That doesn't bother me. It's special effects that are bad. Like 12 Angry Men is one of my favorite movies. I really, really like 12 Angry Men. And that's black and white.
I like 12 Monkeys. That was a good
That's
movie. It's not
a very
black and
different
white,
movie. Any good recent movies or shows you guys have watched?
Come on, tell them.
I don't know what you're about to say. I was going to say I enjoyed the new Upload series on Amazon Prime.
Oh, I got one. I just read. So it's funny. I'm in my late 40s, and I used to read a lot, and I mean a lot. I loved reading, and anymore now, if I'm reading something that's not like helping me, like self-help books or technology books or something to help me learn, I'll feel guilty. Well, here lately, I've given myself permission to read some fiction, and I just got done watching the Outsider, the thing based off the Stephen King book, and I thought that was phenomenal. The actor that plays what's his name in Rogue One, the bad guy, Krennic. I don't know what the actor is. He plays a detective in that series, and it's really good. It has a little bit of supernatural to it, but it's not. It's more like a detective story with a. It was very similar to Green Mile, where you had a big main story going on with a little bit of supernaturalism going on, and yeah, I really liked it. It was pretty good. Now I'm reading the Mr. Mercedes series, which I know there's a series out on that too, but I want to read the books first.
All right, is there any way to get Cosmic Encounter to the table with 2 players? No, but Cosmic Duel should be out soon. It was technically supposed to be out a month ago, but Asmodee delayed it.
Is that just a 2-player, Tom? That new one coming out?
Yeah.
Or can that be more than 2? Okay.
No, I think it's just 2 players.
So have you played? Have you played it?
No, it's not out yet.
Okay. Well, that doesn't mean anything with you.
Yeah,
Get
that's
prototype.
true. But they haven't sent me it yet. No. All right. With big retailer expanding their hobby game aisles and the hobby leaking into the mainstream, do you fear that publishers are going to prioritize family and party game for the money, leaving us behind? Oh
I don't.
my word, no.
Yeah, I
Yes,
don't.
I think they're going to do it. No, I don't worry about it. And there's a lot of reasons for that. First of all, it has always mind boggled me when people say that publisher's just in it for the money. I hope so. Making money is
Yeah.
not an evil thing, as anyone asking these questions do, because I'm pretty sure if your boss said, I'm going to give you a raise, and you'd say, no, look, I'm here for the love of my job, not for the money. I doubt anyone's saying that. Secondly, taking the money part out of the equation, the fact of the matter is that for every publisher who makes more mainstream games, that's awesome, and more people get into the hobby. And B, someone else will make the weird esoteric game that you like on Kickstarter. Have you been to Kickstarter lately? There's like, even now, in the worst time frame for starting new Kickstarter since the platform has begun, there's still new Kickstarters starting every day. And thirdly, if every company on Earth exploded and was taken over by Daleks, you would never be able to play every game that's good that exists for the rest of your life. We're all fine. I will never worry. I just don't worry. Rob?
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, even if it was to change into a genre, I mean, people that's competing, like look at, roll-in rights. You know, they got to be huge, and so everybody and their brother and sister were making roll-in rights. You know, it was only the good ones that would get bought. People were trying.
What?
I mean, yeah,
Oh,
there
I
were
see
some
what you're saying.
companies. Some companies would just pump them out, but man, you could definitely tell the quality of a good one versus a bad one, and it's so. I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. I think it doesn't detract from wanting to put out a good product, and those that do will stand out.
I don't even care if they do. Again, I don't think prioritizing family and party games is a bad thing for a company to do. And then historically, where is this happening? There's just no. Right now, I'm doing these podcasts to stop, to kind of, or not, to just stop some people, not a whole lot of people, but some people from having to listen to this constant negative. And whenever there's negativity, there's a bunch of people who fearmonger. And I'm not saying which way people are fearmongering, okay? But there's people who will deliberately inflate whatever things are happening, whether it's, the neighbors. Like I have a neighborhood group where everyone talks in my neighborhood, and they're always gossiping in there, and they're always, this new store's coming to town, everything's going to be ruined, and that happens all the time. And then anytime something slightly bad might happen, someone says, "See, I told you," but they don't ignore the fact that the many other times where they said something bad happened and it never did. I'm telling you, there are things that are going to change in the board game industry, but us running out of games to play is not one of them. All right, Eric says, if you could cross two animals, which two would you choose?
Oh man, I'd say something that could fly with. See, I'm looking at not necessarily a cool animal. I'm looking at like aspects of an animal and what two different things would be cool. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe a bird with. See, I was going to say something that can fly and something that can be good at seeing in the night, but you've got a bat. So,
I'll go with a puppy and a panda, because that would be a pet I would want to have. But I don't want any weird wild animals running around. If I'm going for a fighting ability, then I'm mixing a shark with a gator.
Ooh.
Or a shark with an American eagle.
Yeah, I was going to go. I'd rather go with a shark that can fly. Sharknado.
That is not a movie I'm recommending.
I've never seen it. I've seen Tiger King. Haven't seen Sharknado.
Tom, I was impressed your energy out of the gate during your solo marathon. Thanks. I had eaten and I was prepared. Let's see. Rob, do you have the Saturn V Lego set or Apollo 11?
No, if I got all the Legos I wanted, I'd be broke. I just stick with the creator. That's it, the creator series, and just the buildings. I really love building those and seeing. I mean, my goodness, they make little toilets now out of Legos and living rooms and bedrooms and pool tables and oh man, they're just so neat and they're all layered. You know, they've got like 3 different layers and I don't know. I just wanted to have something where I could put everything together. Now I do have if they were oh man, if they were to come out with a Haunted Mansion Lego set, I am a huge Disney World fanatic, and I got the castle, Cinderella's castle, which is the one from Magic Kingdom. But yeah, my father passed away in 2015, and we had a really big bond over Haunted Mansion. I'd love to get that set, but they're typically buildings. I've got a couple Star Wars sets, but yeah, mainly those buildings. Have you watched the Lego Masters series, Tom?
No.
That game show?
There's a gazillion things. I just don't watch most everything. There's just so many other things to do.
See, I tend to watch a lot of like documentary or a lot of reality TV stuff that when I'm working at night on inserts on that business, I'll have a show going, and I like to watch a lot of stuff where I don't have to necessarily be watching it all the time or paying a lot of attention to it. So stuff like Lego Masters or Survivor and
Kardashians.
Stuff.
Got it.
Oh, no.
What's the single best thing about being a father?
Oh, man. Tom, you go first.
I don't know if there's any single best thing about being a father. The good moments far outweigh the bad ones. And seeing, I don't know, being a father is made up of a million little moments, and I don't know which one would be the best. I am sitting down currently debating in my head if my hatred of potty training 7 children, which is over and done with, is going to be as bad as my fear of mortal death from teaching 7 of them how to drive. I always said potty training was the worst, and I still hold to that opinion. But if ever I want to be awake, it's sitting in the car with one of these kids. Because I'm running a gambit where they're not confident at all, where they're super confident, and where they're confident halftime and not confident.
My first, Tom, was just very, very conservative. I mean, I had to it was crazy. Now my next is like he's playing a video game. He's like, "No, Mom, I played Dad, I've played this game and I know what I'm doing." And then he's like Evil Knievel. But yeah, my oldest son was very. Okay, you can go.
I prefer the cautious one myself.
Yeah, I would.
All right. In a game of Sheriff of Nottingham, who wins, Tom or Rob? Hands down, me.
I'm kind of gullible.
You can't. Rob would be like, I'm not lying. I'd be like, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Rob is a truthful man.
You probably.
See here.
Or I don't, or you specifically, because you'll pull the woolly over my eye. Like I don't always get Tom's sarcasm. He'll say something to me, and I'll be, no way, or he's like, Rob, I'm just kidding with you. He can be very convincing.
Alrighty, jumping through here. People are now talking about stuff that's not questions for us, so sliding down. Now that
we can answer questions for other people.
Now that more games are using apps, do older games that incorporate CD content gain more cred? I don't understand that.
No, but I'll tell you what, you and I are going to see eye to eye, or not going to see eye to eye on that, because I fall into the camp of I didn't kickstart Dark Tower just because it had an app, and I get it. I totally get everything that you're going to say, and I've heard it. I can't get over just. I know I'm the same way with like video game. This isn't quite the same, but to me it's the same concept. Like games that require you to be online all the time. Like take, for example, the new Diablo that came out, or StarCraft. That was, I think, the pioneer that really drew a lot of ire over it, where it required you to be online to make a connection to their server to make sure that you had a copy of it. Now, my whole thought is, let's say, like now, I'd like to play games that I had, some of the you don't know Jack games, or which I know they've come back out, but some games I've had in my collection for a long time. I like to be able to pull them out. And these companies don't have servers going anymore. These are companies that may be gone or don't support this stuff. And so I like to be able to do that. That's why I like GOG, Good Old Games, or GOG.com. They've got a lot of those games that don't require.
Yeah, but I still say that that's a straw man argument for most people. Not for everyone, but for you for sure. If you get a game with an app, the amount of time that you're going to be interested in playing that game is shorter than the app will be out. Because, and you know how I know this? Because I'm willing to put down good money that almost everyone who makes this argument, and not everyone, because I know there's outliers, but Rob, I'll include you in this, that in the past year, you've played less than 3 games or 4 or 5 games that are more than 10 years old. You're playing mostly new stuff.
True, but
so then what does it matter? If you only ever play new stuff, what do you care?
But I'm a huge Ultima fan. I love Ultima 4. I've got a big long story that I won't bother you or the audience with.
But I could play Ultima Online right now. That game was so good that you can go find these things. And I'm saying if a game is that good, if a game is so good that people are still going to be playing 10 years, someone's going to support the app. Not to mention, Justin put the app out. He said that if the company ever goes under, it will be freeware. They'll put it out there for people to play.
That's subjective.
You're not playing the game because it might not work in the future. Who cares? I want to play the game now. I just don't get that whole, well, maybe I can't do it later on. I won't go to that restaurant because maybe in a few years it will close and I'll get to enjoy the restaurant and then it won't be there anymore. To me, that's just such an insane argument that I won't enjoy something now because I might not be able to in 10 years.
So I did kickstart Dark Tower.
People keep saying my mic is low. I don't know why, everyone.
It's like low on the screen. Like I can barely. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll move it here and I'll talk like this. How's it going, everyone? How are you?
I found my thrill. Come on, Tom.
Do you play any musical instruments? And what's your favorite musical genre?
So I tried teaching myself piano. No, I don't. I tried trumpet in middle school, and my parents told me no. I just couldn't. I couldn't get my lips to.
You have to be able to do your lips in a very specific way.
And I would give myself a headache and cramps, and I couldn't do it. Now, all of my kids play something. I've got a kid that plays violin. I've got one that does bass. What's he play? I've got 3 kids that do instruments, but I don't. I would love to learn how to play piano. As far as favorite genre of music, I like anything. I'm big into 80s music. I love the 80s. I love show tunes. I used to do a lot of theater when I was growing up, a lot of musicals. So I love that type of music. I love new age. I love stuff to help sleep at night. How about you, Tom? You're very musical. I know you sing.
Well, I play the piano a bit. My favorite musical genre is happy music, but that's hard to define. So I'll pick Broadway maybe, but I really like Dixie, big band, and I'm a huge fan of reworkings of other songs like Scott Bradley's, where he takes the postmodern jukebox, where he takes modern
Oh,
songs and
yeah.
redoes them. Love that style. Love it.
Who's the clown that he was on America's Got Talent? He
He
does a
was
lot
on
of stuff.
YouTube before then. He the saddest clown,
Uh,
Puddles. Puddles, the saddest clown.
Puddles Pity Party.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
Puddles Pity
pretty good.
Party. I like
I
him.
also like. I love um, stuff like John Williams, like soundtracks,
Oh,
musical soundtracks. Williams and
John Williams is
uh,
amazing.
yeah, who's else? The guy that has Michael Giacchino or whatever. He's done a lot. Some of the Marvel stuff. He did Spider Man. He's done. He did the Star Wars. I think Rogue One. He did. Anyway, he's really good too. But that type of music, that I can listen to, and yeah, John Williams is amazing.
If you could pick one board game to be turned into a full Lego set, which would it be?
Oh wow. It's been disappointing. I wish some of those. Remember, they were putting out those like little Lego board games. How do you feel about those when they were
Well,
out
they
a
weren't
couple years?
very good games, unfortunately. They were
Yeah.
okay at best. I'll say Heroescape.
Oh wow. Would you? Oh, man, that'd be. Imagine that with like minifigs and maybe different creatures, and that does sound neat. Well, gosh, I don't know. Maybe one of the Star Wars games, Outer Rim or Rebellion or something, like little microships, and that would be cool.
Let's see here. How many of your kids like playing games, Rob?
All of them.
Okay,
Well,
but
no,
let's be serious here. Like, how many of them
I'll
would you
say
say are gamers?
one, two, three, four. About six of them. Six of the nine.
But how do you
Uh,
feel? See, I'm of the opinion that many of us, when we say our kids are gamers, we will find that when they leave the house, they will game occasionally at best, because it's not their hobby, right? It happens occasionally, but
yeah.
it's not their hobby.
I'll the younger ones are constantly like I'll get calls at work every once in a while saying, "Hey, Dad, can we take this game down and play it?" And a la carte's one of those big ones. What's the Slide Quest? They've been playing a lot of that lately. So yeah, some of the younger kids, and I don't know, maybe they grow out of it. Maybe it's something, they want. So ask me like 2 or 3 years from now, and maybe the count will be less. I think for sure the demographic is more the younger kids like playing than the older ones. But some of my older ones used to play more with me when they were younger. But I think a lot of it's like you said at the beginning is they get lost in their screens, and they'd rather be playing that with their younger friends than a board game. But yet, years ago, they were playing like Mice and Mystics with us, and they loved that game.
Am I planning more live plays with Melody? Not currently. Melody's in Tampa, so I doubt. I don't know when the next time she'll be home will be. So highly unlikely.
Is that where's she going? Did she graduate? Did you say or what?
Oh no, she's a sophomore. Well, I'm assuming she's a junior now, but
Is
yeah,
she going to school in Tampa?
no, in Pensacola, but
Okay.
they left college like every other college.
Okay. So she living with who's she staying with in Tampa?
Her fiance's parents.
Okay, cool.
Any big plans for the Dice Tower website? Well, I'll be straight up with you folks. Right now, we're planning on it. There's some outside stuff, baseball, which I'm not going to talk about here and now. There's a lot more in the Dice Tower website than you might imagine. Rob puts the stuff up on the website, but behind that, putting the content up is a very gigantic framework, which is unwieldy at best at this point in time. So we have to redo all that, and it's going to take a little bit longer. And because of everything else in the world that's happened, that has to take a slight back seat right now.
Yeah, I wonder how much, you put a lot of, so we've had one huge revamping of the website, like 4 or 5 years ago. And there was a lot of thought put into that. And I wonder if people are just even aware of, maybe that would be a video to show people just what's out there on the website. But literally, I don't know how many people know you could put a game in the search engine and it'll pull up like every single video Tom's done or somebody at the Dice Tower has done, reviews, top tens. I mean, I know a lot of people go to it just to see what the latest videos are, but man, there's so many ways of tagging things and pulling up content on the web that you just can't do on YouTube. And and there was a lot of thought he put into that. So I think maybe we should, it'd be cool if we could hear from people, not here, maybe email me
Well,
and let me know.
you can email Rob, but I already have my plan of what the website's going to be. So I'm not going to really, huh?
What people might want out of it. What is it that's missing? I know you've got some thoughts, but I wonder what.
Sure, I have some very strong thoughts on the website, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, the way the website's going to be is it's something you work on for a really, really, really long time, and you don't see improvements. And then one day, boom, there's the website, and then you see all the problems, and then those get fixed out. But doing a new website is a bit of work, especially when we're doing a website that's not really like most websites on the net. Let's see. People are saying Rob needs a bus.
Man, we use two cars right now. I've got my car, and she's got a bigger car. Fits like 8, I think.
People are now. How experienced do you like pencil and paper RPGs?
It's funny. I used to play D&D, advanced D&D. Sorry about that. Back in the 80s, and then I got out of it, and I played with a bunch of friends. My 2 oldest sons are at that age now that I was at, and so we've recently gotten into 5th edition. I heard so many good things about it. I'd heard a lot of horrible things about 4th, but I've heard good things about 4th too. I haven't read up on it. But
I'm sure it all depends which one I know that some people like 1 edition better than the rest, but at the end of the day, I think it's kind of like James Bond.
Yeah. I mean, I think the new stuff is really cool. I think 5th edition is really cool. I think there's still a lot of things I have issues with or that I don't quite get, or maybe. Anyway, long story short, I've been having a lot of fun. I played with 2 different adventures, which is weird for me because I used to make all my own stuff. I'd draw my own maps and come up with my own stories. So, man, the amount of work going into some of these newer campaigns and reading stuff and knowing enough far ahead so that you can steer people. And there's a lot of work that goes into that. And so for those of you that do this like full blinged out, man, my hat's off to you because it's a lot of work.
Tom, if I see something misscheduled on YouTube, who do I contact? Just email us at problem@dicetower.com or something along that line. We'll get it and send it to the right person. Let's see here. Any news from Sam? Yeah, Sam is doing well at Mythic. You can go follow Sam online. He hasn't disappeared. He's both on Facebook and on Twitter. So you can follow him and see what's going on with him and his job at Mythic. We're actually going to be doing a live, recorded play with Sam shortly. Probably next week you'll see that. Would I be interested in hiring a full-time Dice Tower library curator? Not currently, mostly for reasons of lack of money. If you're willing to do it for free, then yes, I'll take you. Remember the old TV show 8 is Enough? Rob didn't agree. Not only does Rob not agree, but 2020 was the first year in a long time where Rob didn't decide to tell everyone that his wife was pregnant again.
I used to have that gag on April Fool's Day. I would always do a fake sonogram and say, guess what? Number 9 on the way or number 10 on the way. And that was right. April Fool's Day was right in the middle of all that stuff going on. And I don't know. I just didn't feel like it.
If I see any practical jokes, you're grounded. But wait, you're already grounded. So.
Yeah, what is it about you? Because you're kind of a party pooper about that, I think.
About what?
About April Fool's stuff. Or you're like,
No,
there's
no, no,
just
no, no,
too
no. I
many.
love practical jokes. But what I don't like is just lying and calling it a practical joke. That's not a practical joke. A practical joke is a cool, big setup. It's like, I don't know if you've seen John Krasinski and Jimmy Kimmel. They play these practical jokes on each other. That's the sort of thing that I find amusing and interesting. But just putting up a website and saying, Nintendo got bought by Sony is not a practical joke. And it also makes traversing the web on April 1st a pain in the neck. I can't tell if anything's new. I just shut down the whole news, Dice Tower News. Oh, Rob runs Dice Tower News, by the way. We didn't mention that at the beginning. But we shut down Dice Tower News on April 1st because it's a waste of time. That's not being a party pooper. I'm just saying that if you're going to joke, it's got to be a good one. It can't be that whole, look, there's a spider on your head thing. That's boring. You got to go for the gold on these things. Oh, we ran out of questions, so I'm waiting for someone to ask a question. They're now talking about D&D on the side, so.
Open that can of. Do you? I know you play a lot of. Well, Magic's still a board game. Do you play any D&D, or do you not have time? I don't even know how you'd have time for that, but.
No, I actually just cut that out of my life. I've decided to not do it. Not because I don't like doing it or have any problems with it, but I got to make cuts in my life. And so RPGs are out. I would love it. I would get into it. It's the same reason I don't play almost any massively multiplayer online game. I'm sure they're fantastic. I'm sure I would love them. But I got to cut something out.
I can't say how much time I waste. Well, I won't say wasted with WoW. Put into WoW. I mean, there were some good times, but man, I got into it twice and had to get out both times, like badly. That stuff was addicting.
It's like crack, man. Rob, what was your most challenging insert to design?
I'll tell you what. Any of the plastics right now. I'm not going to go with a particular board game, although. Anything that has an irregularly shaped board is a pain. So I think like Fate of the Elder Gods, which I didn't wind up doing, but anything that has like circular boards and stuff, give me a pain because I'll typically stuff like that, or small boxed games like the Paladins of the West Kingdom. I couldn't get it to work with foam board or with plastic, just because there's so much, and like 3/4 of the box is the boards. But the plastic stuff has been a challenge for me because I can spatially make things with foam board and build it as I go, but with the plastic, it's like I've got to design it and print it first before I know if it'll completely work. With the foam board, I could glue all that together and immediately know if a tray is going to work with the particular pieces. So it takes me longer to design. But I tell you what, there's something gratifying, and you can ask Roy about this, about designing something or printing something that's in your head and then putting it into a 3D printer and printing, and oh man, look at this cool thing that I made. It's very gratifying. But it's a huge learning curve. You actually, now you were saying something about you having a 3D printer, Tom, or
we
Roy
got
gave
one for the Dice Tower studio, mostly so I can print stuff for the Dice Tower library. And Roy put it all together and set it up. He printed something, then I printed something, and then I printed something else, and then it said there was an error, and I looked it up online and said, Roy, I need you to fix this. And that's been about a month ago, and it's just been busy, and at his house he doesn't have the space, and so I want to get it going because I want to start printing out upgrades for all of our games.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm surprised you haven't done upgrades and sold them now that you have a 3D printer.
I don't see, and that gets into if I haven't designed it, it's so funny too, because I bought a lot of upgraded D&D stuff, little tokens and stuff like that I bought on Etsy. And then I go to some of these sites and I see these plans and designs out there for free. And I'm like, man, I wonder what the legality is to some of that stuff. And maybe maybe there is no problem, but if I didn't design it, I wouldn't feel comfortable selling it. And I can put
and I think
together,
that's a very legit thing.
but drawing like things and creatures and doing something in 3D, I wouldn't be able to.
Would you sell your printer, your 3D insert printer plans? If someone wanted to print it out themselves?
Tom, what do you think? The struggle I feel with that.
I apologize. I don't know enough about the whole system that I wouldn't be able to give a good enough answer.
No, but if you had, they asked me the same thing about foam board, the plans. And the fear was always, if that got out there, people sharing it for free, but then there's tons of people that do that,
maybe, but I wouldn't worry so much about that. I've always my philosophy came down. Eric Hautemont, who ran Days of Wonder. I talked to him once before he ran Days of Wonder. He ran a big giant software company, and he said they sold programs that cost $400 or $500. And I said, how do you deal with pirates on that? And he said, I don't care. He said anybody who pirates my software was never going to buy it to begin with. So I didn't lose a sale there. And so I feel like it's the same thing. This was something I was a little worried about in our Kickstarters when we had our Gloomhaven scenarios. Because I was like, oh, well, it's a PDF. One person gets it, and then everyone else will have it. One person will share it with everybody. But it hasn't happened. And if some people have done it, if they've taken it and shared it with some other people, those unscrupulous people aren't fans of your work anyway, and we're never going to give you anything for it. I'm not condoning it. I think piracy is wrong. I don't condone music, video, TV, PDF piracy. I pay for the stuff I watch. I pay for the stuff that I read. I do. But I also don't worry about it either.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point, too, is it might be generating more income from somebody that would never buy the finished product because they feel like they can do it themselves, or they just wouldn't spend that amount of money, but they drop, a couple bucks or whatever on plans. So, yeah, I need to think more about that and not be so worried about it, I guess.
Yeah, and then Kabuki here in the comments says, fighting them hard can often usually only cost you or can actually harm the genuine customers, and DRM is a famous example of this.
Yeah.
And that's really the case of it for sure, right? It's
Yeah.
that where one kid's bad in school and then everyone else, they make a new rule that affects everybody. I'm pretty sure the TSA is a good example of that. Where they're consistently making changes based on the actions of a few bad people. But
oh man, I
bet
can't.
You guys weren't expecting us to go into piracy tonight.
I'm going back though, Tom, to the 70s and 80s, and just remembering how easy it was to get on a plane. I remember people smoking on a plane. I remember being able to walk up the terminal with my dad if he was going on a business trip, and just saying goodbye to him, and not only being able to get up to a security point. It's just, man, it's weird I love those posts and those videos about things that people growing up today have no idea about, like 45s or 33s and stuff like that.
That's because you're an old man now. That's how that works. We look back.
Right, so hold on. I've got a question for you. When you were growing up, because we're close to the same age, you're younger, but when you were growing up, when somebody turned on an oldies station, it was 50s and 60s music, right? Yes. Why is it when you go to an oldies station now, it's not 80s or 90s music? It's still 50s and 60s. Maybe we don't turn old until the oldies
if you
station.
Think that's the case. You could go to AMC or Turner Classic Movies, and they are playing the movies from our childhood.
Are they? I don't know. If I turn on the old golden oldies or the oldies, it's always Elvis and and Beatles and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
well, the baby boomers are still supreme. They rule everything. They'll give it to us Gen Xers eventually. Alrighty, folks.
Yeah.
Well, that is another hour, another chat. So nothing live
that was-
tomorrow during the day that I know of. But we will be doing, there's another live chat tomorrow night. So come on back over the weekend. One chat each night. So we hope that you enjoy those. And more videos. Consistent videos coming from the Dice Tower. So check out Rob's website. That's at inserthere.me. And anything else you want to say, Rob, before we go? You have 30 seconds?
No, this was a lot of fun. I really appreciate the questions and Tom inviting me on. It was just hope everybody's doing well and keeping safe and healthy.
All righty. Well, until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
And I'm Rob Searing.
We'll see y'all later.
All righty. Bye.